Welcome to the Baldwin Park Planning Commission for July 27th. And before we get started, I would like Mr. Bojorquez to lead us in the flag salute.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good evening, Amy. Would you please do roll call?
Commissioner Borquez?
Here.
Commissioner Flores?
Present.
Commissioner Rooney?
Here.
Vice Chair Maciel?
Here.
Chair Muse?
Here. At this time, I would like to open public communication for anyone wishing to speak on any item not on the agenda. If you choose to, please step forward and you have 15 minutes. I'm sorry, 3 minutes. Sorry about that, guys. We'll be here a while. Seeing no interest, I now close public communication. And we will start with the first agenda item, the approval of the minutes from our last meeting on June 22nd. Do any of the commissioners have any changes or corrections to the minutes? Seeing none, I will take a motion to approve the minutes for June 22nd.
I'll make a motion.
Second.
And any objections? Seeing none, motion passes. Okay, Amy. First, the next agenda item, please.
I'm going to... our planning technician, Madai Castillo, is going to be giving the presentation on this one.
Hello, good afternoon, Honorable Chair, Commissioners, and members of the audience. The request before you is a request to consider a warehouse facility within an existing building located within the industrial zone, located at 4501 Little John Street. Applicant Robert Ye, case number CP829. The applicant, Robert Ye, is requesting approval of a conditional use permit for a warehouse facility in the industrial zone within an existing building. The applicant proposes to use the existing building as a distributor of general consumer goods from Amazon and other major online retailers. These surrounding zoning designations are industrial to the north and to the east, and to the south and west, we have the city of Irwindale. Special noise sources such as machinery, equipment, and trailers are restricted not to exceed a number of decibels within the hours of operation from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m., as well as, and those are also going to be their hours of operation. This is the floor plan here, and the building will consist of approximately 80% storage, where packages are going to be stored on pallets and later consolidated to be shipped out once a week. The proposed business at this location, HFE International USA Corporation, will not utilize any machinery to operate the business. It's solely going to be mostly shipping and receiving. And I'm sorry, the hours of operation are going to be Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. There is not going to be any major traffic expected from workers. And staff has reviewed the application and operational characteristics and has determined that with the added conditions of approval, the proposed business will not have an adverse impact to the adjacent properties. Therefore, staff recommends that Planning Commission adopt resolution PC 1613 entitled A Request to Consider a Warehouse Within an Existing Building pursuant to Table 153 050-030. Applicant Robert Ye, case number CP 839. This concludes staff presentation.
Thank you very much. At this moment, does any member of the commission have any questions for staff? Seeing none, at this moment, I will now open public communication. Anyone wishing to speak on this item, please step forward. Seeing no interest, I now close public communication. Again, are there any questions or concerns in regards to this agenda item? Seeing none, I will now accept a motion.
A motion.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Any objections? Motion passes, and that is for CP 839.
PC 16-13.
Okay, resolution PC 16-13. Thank you. Next agenda item, Amy.
Chair, our planning technician, Jose Mendez, is going to be taking care of this one for you. And I have to tell you, this is his first presentation before y'all.
No pressure.
Good evening. Honorable Chair, Commissioners, and members of the audience. The request before you is a request for consideration of a conditional use permit for an automobile repair business, including bodywork with accessory used automobile sales within the industrial commercial zone. The location is 14837 Dio Street. The applicant is Jose Alfredo Ruiz, case number CP 837. The applicant, Jose Alfredo Ruiz, is proposing to establish an auto repair business, including bodywork with accessory used automobile sales. The property being occupied is approximately 41,849 square feet and is located on the south side of Ramona Boulevard and north side of Badillo Street. The used automobile sales component is proposed as an accessory use and will not operate as a separate and independent business. The proposed use is compatible with the surrounding operations to the north, east, and west. The properties to the south are multifamily residential. Condition D restricts the types of auto repair to mechanical repairs, maintenance, and minimal body repairs, such as installation and or replacement of parts. The automobile repair facility is prohibited from cutting, welding, sanding, and painting activities. Condition H would restrict the business to specific hours of operation that are in compliance with the municipal code section referring to special noise sources. The business will operate between 9 a.m. and 7 p.m. Staff has reviewed the application and operational characteristics and has determined that with the added conditions of approval, the proposed business will not have an adverse impact to the adjacent properties. Therefore, staff recommends that the Planning Commission adopt Resolution PC 1612, entitled A Resolution of the Planning Commission of the City of Baldwin Park adopting the findings of fact and approving conditional use permit to allow an automobile repair business, including bodywork with accessory used automobile sales within the IC Industrial Commercial Zone, pursuant Table 153-050-020 in the city's municipal code, at the location of 14837 Badillo Street for the applicant Jose Alfredo Ruiz.
Thank you very much.
And that concludes staff's presentation.
I was waiting for that part, but any questions from the commissioners on this item? Well, I have one. You indicated that painting is prohibited at this location? Body repair, no painting? Interesting.
Right, so it would only be minimal, so replacement of parts like the hood or the bumper, so he wouldn't be doing any of the painting there.
Okay.
That's something that the applicant as well agreed to.
All right. Thank you. Are there any questions again from the commissioners to staff? All right, seeing none, I now open up public communication. Anyone wishing to speak on this agenda item, please come forward, and you have 3 minutes. Seeing no interest, I'll now close public communication. And again, I put out to the commissioners, are there any questions or concerns? All right, seeing none, I will now accept a motion.
I'll motion.
Second. Any objections? Seeing none, motion passes 5-0 for PC 1609?
16-12.
16-12, thank you. Amy, next agenda item, please.
Honorable Chair, Commissioners, members of the audience, the request before you is a request for consideration of a single-family, single-lot zone variance to allow a 5-foot encroachment into a second-story, 10-foot setback within the R1 single-family residential zone, pursuant to Section 153.210, Part 8 of the city's municipal code. The location is 13070 Francisquito Avenue, and the applicant is Henry Santillana. Case number ZV712. The property in question is zoned R1 and is surrounded by other single-family residential properties. In the R1 zone, current development standards require a 5-foot setback for the side yards. However, a second story would require an additional setback and is determined to be 10% of the lot width in addition to the required 5-foot setback. The existing residence is a 2-story house with a detached garage with driveway access from the alley at the rear. The applicant, Henry Santillana, is proposing, in addition to both the first story and the existing second story of the house. The addition will be to the rear of the house and will not be visible from Francisquito Avenue. The design of the project has been reviewed and tentatively approved by the city's design review committee, pending approval of this zone variance to allow a second-story setback of 5 feet that would generally align and continue the existing second-story setback of the house. As staff had explained, the additional setback for the second story is determined to be 10% of the lot width. So the lot width for this subject property is 50 feet. Therefore, an additional 5 feet is required for a total second story setback of 10 feet. However, the existing second story is set back 5 feet, and the applicant is requesting the variance before you to continue this existing setback. Requiring the additional setback of 10 feet pursuant to current code would present a physical and structural hardship because the area immediately below the existing portion because of the area immediately below to the portion to the house is already existing, so the walls wouldn't align and there would be issues with footings. Staff has reviewed the application and has determined that the proposed design will not be detrimental to the public. Approval of the zone variance with added conditions of approval would allow the applicant to construct an improvement to his property that meets the development standards of the zoning code and is in accordance with the goals and policies of the city's general plan. Therefore, staff recommends that the Planning Commission adopt Resolution PC 16-15 entitled a resolution of the Planning Commission of the City of Baldwin Park adopting the findings of fact and approving a single-family, single-lot zone variance to allow a 5-foot encroachment into a second-story, 10-foot setback within the R1 single-family residential zone, pursuant to Section 153.210, Part 8 in the city's municipal code, the location 13070 Francisquito Avenue, the applicant Henry Santillana, case number ZV712. This concludes staff's presentation.
Thank you. At this point, do any commissioners have any questions of staff? Seeing none, I now will open up public communication. Anyone wishing to speak on this agenda item, please step forward. And you will have 3 minutes. Seeing no interest, I will now close public communication. And since there was no questions from the commissioners at this point, I will now accept a motion.
Motion.
Second.
Any objections? Seeing none, motion passes 5-0 for PC 16-15. Next agenda item, please.
Thank you, Honorable Chair, Commissioners, and members of the audience. Before you is a request for a conditional use permit to allow fabrication and installation of aftermarket parts on automobiles and accessory vehicular storage within the IC commercial zone. The applicant's request encompasses 2 separate properties, which you can see on the slide right there. The primary property is the one on Ramona Boulevard, the southernmost property, where the fabrication, installation, and accessory repair will take place. The property on Elton, the property to the north, is where vehicles will be stored. The Ramona Boulevard property has, there's the Elton property. Pretty much that's how it's going to be laid out. The property is vacant. The Ramona property, and this is the Ramona property, there it goes. The Ramona property is set up as you can see here with the majority, it's not one of the through lots and has access from Ramona Boulevard. This is the floor plan of the building on Ramona. Obviously, you see the large workshop area, storage area, and then the office waiting area. Although this property is within the industrial commercial zone, typically there's some concern with noise surrounding these types of businesses. However, the applicant has stated that his hours of operation will be Monday through Friday, 6 a.m. to 5 p.m., and Saturdays, 8 to 5 p.m. Staff does not believe that there will be an adverse impact, noise impact because of the hours of operation. However, we've also included conditions of approval and another condition which requires work be conducted within the enclosed building. So at this point, staff does not feel that there will be any type of noise impact or anything like that. So at this time, staff is recommending the Planning Commission open the public hearing and following the public hearing, adopt Resolution PC 1614 entitled A Resolution of the Planning Commission of the City of Baldwin Park adopting the findings of fact and approving a conditional use permit to allow the fabrication and installation of aftermarket parts on automobiles, minor automobile repair and accessory vehicular storage within the IC industrial commercial zone pursuant to Table 153.050.020 in the city's municipal code. The location of the properties is 15016 through 15020 Ramona Boulevard and 4230 Elton Avenue, and the applicant is Javier Montes, and the case number CP 838. And this concludes staff's presentation.
Thank you very much, Amy. Again, are there any questions from any commissioners? Okay, I'll have one. Amy, again, as in the previous one, it indicates minor automobile repair. Again, are there any indications that painting will be conducted at this location?
Not that I am aware of. However, we do have a condition that says anything, where is that? Oh, I think that's the wrong staff report, sorry. We do have a condition that if there's anything like that going on, they will have to get any other governmental type of permits that are required. And they also have to follow MPDES requirements as well.
Okay, so if any concerns, we'll just we'll conduct a follow up to check and see if any of that's happening, correct?
Yes, sir.
All right. Thank you.
You're welcome. Just to give you a little bit of background on this, the applicant actually received a contract through the Sheriff's Department, Javier. Through the Sheriff's Department, too. The aftermarket parts are like the computer stands in the Sheriff's vehicles, the cages, things like that. So he's got a real strict contract with the county that he has to adhere to. I don't foresee any issues with it.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
At this moment, I will now open public communication for this agenda item. Anyone wishing to speak on this agenda item, please come forward. Seeing no response, I now close public communication. Again, any questions from any commissioners on this item? Seeing none, I will now accept a motion.
A motion, move the sword.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any objections? Seeing none, motion passes 5-0 for PC 16-4.
14.
16-14. Next item, please.
The Honorable Chair, the request before you is a request for consideration of a tentative tract map to subdivide 4 lots into 16 lots to facilitate the construction of 15 single-family detached residences with access from a private cul-de-sac street, Lot A, and a conditional use permit for a density bonus to allow 1 affordable dwelling unit within the R1 single-family residential zone pursuant to tables 152.10 and 153.040.140.A in the city's municipal code. The location is 4923 through 4929 Fortin Street, 15138 Nubia Street, and assessor's parcel number 8413-013-025. The applicant is Baldwin Park Homes, LLC. Case numbers TM 73928, CP 830, and PR 15-38. The applicant, Baldwin Park Homes LLC, is requesting a tentative tract map to subdivide 4 lots into 16 lots to construct 15 detached single-family residences and a Lot A for a private cul-de-sac street. The property is zoned R1 and is surrounded by other R1 zoned lots. The 15-unit project will incorporate 4 different plans or plan designs with floor areas ranging from 1,653 to 2,316 square feet. And each dwelling unit will have 4 bedrooms and between 2.5 and 3 bathrooms. The dwellings will also benefit from an attached 2-car garage for each one. 13 of the dwelling units will have access through a private cul-de-sac street, Lot A, while 2 of the dwellings will have access and frontage directly from Nubia Street along the north side of the project. A total of 10 guest parking spaces are provided along the private street and within Lot A. This is an aerial photograph that shows the project site. As can be seen, 3 of the existing parcels each have a dwelling unit. So there are 3 dwelling units there existing currently that will be demolished as part of this project. And the 4th parcel is the largest with no dwelling units on site, so it's vacant. The project has been cleared and conditions of approval were received from LA County Fire and LA County Sanitation, as well as the city's Public Works Department. All conditions of approval have been incorporated as conditions in the resolution. Prior to the CEQA required comment period for the mitigated negative declaration, a Native American consultation request was sent out to tribes in accordance with Assembly Bill AB 52. No consultation was requested by any tribe. The conditional use permit for this project is a request for a density bonus of 25%, with concessions as a result of designating Lot 14 as low income, which shall not be sold at market rate. And I don't know if I can point it out here. Lot 14, the affordable unit would be located centralized in the project, and it will have the same number of beds and bathrooms, and it will incorporate similar architecture as the other units. The design of the project has been reviewed and tentatively approved by the city's design review committee pending approval of a subdivision map and conditional use permit. The following slides are the proposed elevations, including renderings corresponding to the 4 different plans or plan designs. This is Plan 1. This is Plan 2. Plan 3. Plan 4. And better yet, I have renderings, and as you can see, the architecture will be similar. This is Plan 1 with an attached 2-car garage for each of the units. Plan 2. Plan 3. And Plan 4. Staff has reviewed the applications and has determined that approval of the tentative track map that would facilitate the construction of 15 dwelling units on a private street, and approval of the conditional use permit for a density bonus with deviations from the zoning code development standards is in accordance with the goals and policies of the city's general plan. Therefore, staff recommends that the Planning Commission adopt Resolution PC 16-16, entitled A Resolution of the Planning Commission of the City of Baldwin Park recommending that the Planning Commission 1. Approve and adopt the mitigated negative declaration of environmental impact. 2. Approve a conditional use permit to allow a density bonus of 25% of the allowable density within the R1 single-family residential zone pursuant to Section 153.040.140.A of the city's municipal code. 3. Approve a tentative tract map to subdivide 4 lots into 16 lots for 15 single-family residential dwelling units and a Lot A for a private cul-de-sac street pursuant to Table 152.10 in the city's municipal code. And 4, approve a development plan allowing the construction of a 15-unit single-family detached residential development pursuant to Section 153.040.140.B of the city's municipal code. The location is 4923 to 4929 Fortin Street, 15138 Nubia Street, and Assessor's Parcel Number 8413-013-025. The applicant, Baldwin Park Homes, LLC, case number CP 830-TM73928 and PR 15-38. This concludes staff's presentation.
Thank you. At this moment, does any members of the commission have any questions of staff at this time? Seeing none, I will now open public communication. Anyone wishing to speak on this agenda item, please step forward. You have 3 minutes.
How's it going, everybody? My name is Mitchell Vega. I live across the way from the proposed construction site. And first of all, I wasn't notified that this was happening for some reason or another, and several of my other neighbors as well. So one of my concerns is that my house is sitting right where the proposed private street is, and when I bought my house, I wasn't expecting to have cars shining their lights in my living room. Okay, so that bothers me. All right, and then another thing is that I have grandchildren, and there's a lot of kids over there, and there's going to be 15 houses or whatever it is, 2 cars a house. That's 30 new cars right there without guests or anybody else. Okay, and it's a small street that they're proposing, so all the parking's going to overflow in front of my house and everywhere else, although there is a little proposal for some parking for them as well. So those are my main concerns. I don't really want to hold up progress or anything like that, but on the other hand, it would have been nice to been notified. They said they sent mail outs, which they perhaps did, but I never got one, so I'm kind of a little frustrated about that. And then we just got the street resurfaced, clean, looks nice. They've already put 2 brand new holes in it as of today. The gas company got temporary patch over it. We just got that street done, and now they're going to propose all this construction with the multi-million-dollar project right in front of my house. and it's literally right in front of my house, and it concerns me with all the traffic and keeping it clean, keeping the dust down, the working hours, all of that, and having the place secure right now and making sure that the grounds are kept clean. And, as of now, it's right across the street from my house. Like I said, the door's wide open on the house. I don't know if there's people hanging out in there at night or whatever, because it's going to start bringing in, who knows. And there's a bunch of trash all over it right now. And there's a big dead tree right there. So these are my concerns as of now, And like I said, I don't want to hold up any progress. I understand that, people are trying to better the city, and I have no problem with that. But it just, me personally, I don't like the idea of the cars going right in front of my house like that, where the lights are going to be shining. I didn't buy my house like that. It was a single street, houses on this side, houses on that side. And then the other house now my house is going to be facing a side of another house instead of.
Sir, your 3 minutes are up.
Okay. So those are my concerns, and I was wondering how you could possibly address them.
Sir, your 3
Thank you
minutes
very
are
much.
up. Thank you.
Thank you as well.
Thank you very much. Anyone else wishing to speak on this?
Hi, I'm a little bit nervous, so bear with me. Our concerns, our house is right across Nubia, the empty lot that you purchased to do this project. Our concern is, can you guys build like a bigger fence to keep people out of there? Like there's strangers there going in there at all times, and we have our kids and they're taking out whatever was left in there. And it's really, we're like, kids come over here and we're always seeing people go back there and it's empty and it's strangers all the time. The other thing that we have concerns about is the trucks bringing in the loads of dirt. Last year, they were doing that. We were not notified that they were going to be doing that. We have little ones with asthma, and it was a big concern to us. They were bringing the dirt in there, and it was just causing a lot of concern with us, with our kids with asthma. The cleaning the lot, there's going to be a lot of like rodents and those kind of critters coming out. Our concern is, are they going to have control over that? The noise, how early are they going to be starting the project, and how late are they going to be working? Are they going to be doing this on the weekends? How is that going to affect the traffic? Right now, Nubia, oh my gosh, if you go through it from 4 to 6, it's like people are flying through there, and we're coming home with our kids and everything, and it's really dangerous now. There's been multiple crashes. We've had 2 of our cars slammed into with, they hit our cars through there. What else? How long is this project going to be? When is it going to start and when is it going to end? I mean, like the gentleman over there, we don't want to stop. We want more people in Bowen Park and see progress in Bowen Park, but these are our main concerns. And right now that lot is empty. And I took pictures right before I came here of 2 guys just bringing out stuff, putting it in their car. We don't even know who these people are. And it's like, it's a concern to us, especially with our kids. So all I'm asking is if they could build a bigger fence while this is being built. And also our sewer line and our gas lines, water lines, is that going to be affected with this project? That's our concern also. We would just like to address, if anybody could tell us how they plan on those 2 houses that are going to be facing Nubia. With the parking, our street is full. There's people who have at least 5 to 6 cars on that street. I mean, sometimes you're fighting for parking in that street. So we want to know how that's going to be addressed, especially with the construction. I know my 3 minutes are up.
Ma'am, your 3 minutes are up.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. The applicant?
Hello, my name is Craig Cook. I am the applicant here to speak for Baldwin Park Homes. I have a little presentation that we wanted to do. Usually we go right after staff, but a couple people got up and spoke, so it gave me an opportunity to maybe address some of those things that they said in my initial presentation. I did want to, for clarification, do I have to do the 3 minutes as well? Typically the applicant's allowed to present and discuss their project or presentation. Am I limited to 3 minutes?
You're good.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure that it's clear, not like at 3 minutes. So I'm going to skip the part about the address. We already got that. But you guys are aware of the site and location and the 4 properties which make up the project. These are some pictures of the existing homes. They were taken pretty recently. The 2 on the top are the 2 properties that face along Fortin, and the 2 on the bottom are the 2 properties that face along Nubia. You can see the empty lot, which the resident on Nubia spoke about, and you can see it's in the bottom right corner, and you can see that gate there. Yesterday was the last time that I went there and redid the hinges and redid the locks on that gate. There's a neighboring property owner that has a short fence. The lot which makes up the largest portion of this project is over an acre, and it has been the location of hoarding for the last 30 or 40 years. That is why this is pictures taken inside of that property. This is why we have people constantly coming in. We locked the doors, we locked the houses. We had a project right down the street, so we kept pretty good eye on the property, but we had to go through and open up all the doors and open up all the windows to do asbestos checks and stuff last week. And we noticed that there was people getting ladders coming in. They're trying to get bottles and cans and metal and trying to get that stuff out to take it to the recycling that's right down the street. There's a recycling plant right there in Northern Baldwin Park, so there's just this constant flow. But we are doing our best to keep it locked up, to keep the houses locked up, to keep people out. But if the project is approved, this will be the first time in 30 years where there won't be a giant hoarding garbage situation there on Nubia, that Nubia property. There was a little bit of discussion about the site and the entrance for the project. I don't have a laser, so what I'm going to do is walk over to that picture, and then I'm going to talk as I point to it. Do you have a laser? Okay. So the design and development of this project's been going on about 2 years. And originally, you can see this blue property right here is what we originally acquired. You can see it up here for the people in the audience. The large piece, the blue property, is what we originally acquired. And our goal was to build a project on that site and solely on that site. There was 2 issues with that concept. The city of Baldwin Park flows water-wise from north to south. So drainage goes north to south. And what we wanted to do was build it and build a little street right here and come off of it. But because the water flows the opposite way, we'd have had to build the site up so high to drain back north up to Nubia. There would have been also like a castle-like condition. There would have been these massive retaining walls, and the houses that were two-story houses would have been an additional 5 to 7 feet up in the air, and it would have kind of violated like every planning principle that you want as far as trying to do your best to maintain the topography in the neighborhood. The next solution was to extend Masline down like it was supposed to. Comview's right here, Masline is here. Masline is supposed to turn, Comview, and then it's supposed to come down and enter, exit here or put a cul-de-sac. But what you can see here is that on these parcels here that are red, they had already been dedicated to the city of Baldwin Park years ago. They were already dedicated to street. But they made up 90% of the private open space for these 6 residents here, 2 on this side and 4 on that side. There was also 1, 2, 3 properties that had to dedicate in order for us to connect this street to service our project. 2 of those people were unwilling to dedicate the land to the city to build the street, so it was impossible for us to connect this street and have our project exit out onto this Comview, Masline, and exit. So we owned this piece, this blue piece of property, and we were the sole owners of that. We couldn't get the water out, and we couldn't get access the way that we thought we would like to get access. Then we go to the city of Baldwin Park, and we talk about our project, and there's a code in the city of Baldwin Park that has a minimum size requirement for a project. It has to be 1.5 acres for R1, 1 acre for R3, RG. Various types of projects have to have minimum sizes. Well, our project didn't meet the minimum sizes. So this is why we went around and we bought this property, we bought these 2 properties here, so that we could meet our minimum requirements and we could get that vehicular access which we needed to have to move the project forward. Now, this shows the property superimposed, the project superimposed on the existing neighborhoods. We didn't just put the access road here because we didn't think about it, we didn't plan on it. We looked to exit to the south, we looked to exit to the north. There was no possible willing sellers to exit to the west, so the only access point, which was a willing seller and the water would flow out and would provide vehicular access, was to the east here. So I totally understand the concept and the issues pertaining to the gentleman who spoke, who lives on Fortune Street. There really wasn't anywhere else that we could put the entrance and exit. We had purchased only 1 lot, and then we purchased a second lot so we could put that guest parking there. We knew that parking is always a concern. Nobody wants to be the very first existing home outside of a project and then deal with the brunt of the parking for the new homes. So this is one of the reasons why we put the guest parking lot here. Currently, you have 2 houses facing on there, and you have 2 driveway approaches. Now you only have 1 street, which is the same width as the driveway approach. So you'll actually have more street parking now, or with the project, than you do currently, because you're reducing one of the driveway approaches. Up here, you've got 2 driveway approaches, 1 existing house. You're only going to have 2 driveway approaches, 2 existing houses. You are going to have 1 more house, but the street parking will not be reduced as far as the area with which it could happen. All of our houses have 2-car garages. All of our houses have 2-car driveways. Some have more than 2-car driveways. And we put a guest parking lot in here to try to do our best to limit the negative effects of our project on the neighborhood. This property, because of the fact that we had to start buying existing homes at above market rate because they were not willing sellers, got very expensive, and we hope that we have a better design and a less impact design by what we did with the street here, because that was our intent. Our intent was to not go up here to these people and take away the backyards of 6 existing residences, and then everyone here who lives on the end of a cul-de-sac. I don't know if you guys remember the development back in 2011 that we did propose over on Vineland and Stitchmond. That was a dead-end cul-de-sac. We added onto that cul-de-sac. The whole neighborhood came out and said, look, we're on the end of a cul-de-sac. You need to access your property from somewhere else. We have this right to be on the end of a cul-de-sac. So we would go in here and tell all these people that they're no longer going to be at a dead-end street, it's going to be a through street. And then we would take these 6 people's backyards away, which they don't necessarily own, but they probably have not known anything else except the fact that that was their backyard for the last 20 years. So trying to have as little effect as possible, we came up with the proposal you see here today. We built a project down here. We had really good response from our neighbors across the street. We had good response for the neighbors to our north and east and south. We pulled fences down. We built new fences for existing neighbors that were not on our plans to get along. And we followed the rules. And it is correct, we did have some extra dirt when we were grading the street here before we put the asphalt in. And we drove it down the street and dumped it in that lot. We have not been bringing in dirt or doing work, but we did have to bring dirt from here across the street. When we have grading permits and we have an approved project, if that is the end case, we'll be forced to bring in water trucks and water and keep dust abatement, and there'll be all sorts of rules about the hours of construction and everything else. We just built a project down the street, and I thought we had pretty good response and pretty good activity with our neighbors. We'll be good neighbors up here, but no matter what, when you're building something new, it's an inconvenience to those around you. They do not necessarily profit directly from you building it, and we understand it's an inconvenience, and we apologize, but we are trying to do our best, and the design here was one with which we thought would have the least impact on the total number of people. So that's my presentation. If you guys have any questions or concerns, I'm very happy to answer them.
Thank you. Any questions or concerns from any commissioners?
I had a chance to visit the site. I looked at the proposed site, and I also got a tour of the Masline houses. And they're very well built, nice looking houses that would be an asset to the neighborhood. Can you address the rodent issue? And do you live directly across from where they're going to be coming out?
I believe he lives right in one of these 2 houses. I believe this house or that house, one of these 2 houses right here.
And would there be any way to deter light from going in his living room?
I mean, at night when the car's driving down, one of the things that we did do on purpose is we have the parking lot is here, and the road is here, and the road actually is supposed to line up. The exit road is supposed to line up with the area in between the 2 houses. It's not supposed to line up with a front door or a window. It's supposed to line up there. And it's not just for him.
Yeah.
Something about the way that you design roads and feng shui and things of that nature, you're not supposed to try to line up with people's front doors. You're not supposed to try to line up with people's windows. So the road is actually supposed to line up in between the 2 houses. I can't tell that there's not going to be some lights, but I don't know how else we could address it. We could, move it one way or to the left or the right, but it's headlights are headlights, So.
Will there be speed bumps in that parking lot?
We have not proposed a speed bump. I'm sure we'll put a stop sign right there. If it's a private street, it's a small street. If they wanted speed bumps inside, once again, just through past experiences, when you started adding speed bumps to people's existing street, to 14 or something like that, they are very unpopular traditionally. If you try to take away people's speed bumps or you try to add people's speed bumps, it's usually pretty unpopular. Like I said, we've been up there for 2 years. I think Fortin is a great street. It's a slow street. I concur that at 4 o'clock to 5 o'clock, I drive home here every single day for the last year because I check on this project on my way home. And when Arrow gets busy, people start to try to trickle down and cut through down Nubia. And at 4 or 5 o'clock, it's pretty busy. This is one of the reasons that we didn't bring our project out onto Nubia because people start cutting down through Conview and coming down Elton and cutting through here. We brought it out onto Fortin because we felt with just the same way we did with our 10 houses here, we have them onto a street and then driving out. We don't have people backing out of driveways onto Fortin, or we have people entering the private street and driving out because that's the way we thought might have the least effect. And any of you that did look at the houses or go by the houses of Fortin, the houses are the same. Everything except for this this one house here, the 2,300 square foot house. All the rest of those houses, the 14 of the 15, are the similar floor plans and elevations that are on the Fortin project that we just completed. So it's a really, those came out really well. Those are house plans that we've had for a while, but the City of Baldwin Park changed a lot of their ordinances about 360-degree elevations, about putting in roofs on the sides of houses to setbacks and things like that. So we changed some of those house plans around, and they're a little different than they have been traditionally, but the vast majority of those houses are the same as we're proposing here.
Okay.
Chairman Muse. Yes, go ahead.
You know, I also had a chance to tour the location, and we have to understand that where this area is, it was Dunkelman. It was the home of a hoarder, so we already had that issue of rodents and trash and all these other issues that were constantly bringing. Neighbors were complaining to City Hall about this area that was just awful for the local residents. So for starters, I'm thinking, wow, what a welcome addition to this part of the neighborhood, especially considering that I saw the new homes that they built down the street, which, like Commissioner Rooney said, they're well built, they're beautiful, they're attractive, and I appreciate the residents that come in and voice their concerns, and Mr. Cook is welcome to answer any of your questions. But I toured the area. I know this was a problem for many, many years. I know that home, and I know how the residents around that area felt about it. They were disgusted, and I think that this is going to change a lot. There might be some short-term problems, with anytime you're building new homes, but I think in the long run, it's going to increase the property values.
Thank you. Any other commissioner would like to comment?
I would. My name is Edith Flores, and I also got to go to the site and seeing the project that they did before. And if they didn't have any problems with their neighbors, I believe they should be able to follow the same for this new project. It sounds like this site was there for a long, long, long time, so I believe there might have been strangers going in there for a long time, now that I'm hearing you guys. But I'm sure that Mr. Cook, correct, that he will be able to mitigate all those issues, the dirt, the lighting, and all that. So I really don't see any other issues other than that traffic between 4 and 5 or 6 o'clock in the evenings. And I believe it's a very good design, the way they did it. It looks really good. And that's it. Thank you.
Commissioner Maciel, I also like to make a comment and thank Mr. Cook for giving us a tour. I also had a chance to view the homes that we actually approved back on Maceline. I was part of the commission then, and they are awesome. They look very great. It puts everything into perspective when you actually see everything you've made upon approval of these resolutions. So I'm totally for the project at hand because it will clear up some of the matters that the residents have concerns with. My only curiosity is, will people be able to park on the actual street, or is the tentative guest parking the only parking available on that little street?
It's a private street. There is no parking on the actual private street. They're supposed to only park in the guest parking or in their individual driveways. We kind of got caught. The street sizes changed like 2 or 3 times, and through our interaction with the fire department, they either wanted it like really big or they didn't care if it was smaller. So we ended up going back and adding 2 or 3 feet to the front setbacks and some of the side setbacks, and making the street a little bit smaller. Because in order for them to allow us to actually park in it, they wanted it to almost be 50% bigger than it is, or something like that. So it is a non-parking street. That's why we have one of the reasons why we did the guest parking lot.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That's all I have.
Thank you. Before moving on, is there anyone else who would like to speak on this agenda item? Seeing no further interest, I will now close public communication. And since all the questions have been addressed, at this point, I will now accept a motion.
I motion to move forward.
Second.
Any objections? Seeing none, motion passes for PC 16-16. You got it. Now, the next agenda item, I will have to recuse myself.
Could you state for the record why?
Say that again?
Could you state for the record why, so the public knows?
I live right across the street.
Okay.
So I will have to excuse myself and turn it over to my vice chair.
Before you go into the item, I would like to take the Planning Commission into closed session to discuss the litigation in this matter, Eastern Keystone versus City of Baldwin Park. There's been a lawsuit and a settlement by the city council. So at this time, if the chair permits, we'll move into closed session.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, so for the record, Chair Muse has excused himself and he is out of the building. And staff report.
Thank you, Vice Chair. Vice Chair, Commissioners, members of the audience. Before you is a request by Bruce Ashuri with Eastern Keystone pursuant to a settlement agreement with the city to allow a 27-bed elderly residential care facility within the R1 single-family residential zone. 2 properties which encompass this site are zoned R1 and contain approximately 46,400 square feet combined. There are several existing structures on the property, as you can see on this site plan, which was utilized in the past as a group home and convalescent facility. One of the structures will be demolished, and it's not noted on here, but it's around in this area over in here. However, the remaining structures will be rehabilitated and improved. Buildings A and C on the site plan, which I don't know if you can see that. Building A is this one, building C is this one. Are primarily used as living quarters. Building A has double and single occupant rooms with adjoining bathrooms. Building C, let's see if I can find Building C. Building C actually has a subterranean dining room down here with bedrooms and bathrooms atop. Building D, which is this building here, is common living area for the residents and storage, and then building E is laundry and storage, and building B is the main office. Overall site improvements to the site include new landscaping. Let me go back to that. New landscaping throughout the site, grass area here and here, and pockets of grass up here, and then along Vineland in the front setback there. And then there's an 8-space parking area, which will be new right here with direct access off of Vineland Avenue. And then there's a loading space, which is right here behind the kitchen to allow for deliveries. There's also behind a gate here, parking stalls back here, which will primarily be used for staff and, staff pretty much. There are 2 drive approaches on Stitchman Avenue. However, these will not be utilized and are not for public access. This one here will only be utilized by Waste Management to remove waste from the waste bin here. This drive approach over here is existing and is required for LA County Fire emergency access only. And as again mentioned, these drive approaches are only used for emergency and waste removal purposes. So let me go back to the parcel map. There are 2 separate properties, as you can see here, that encompass the applicant's request. However, because neither of them by themselves can function as an adult care facility independently, staff has requested the applicant combine the 2 properties into one. The city zoning code provides specific development standards for residential care facilities. These standards include minimum lot size, which the project will meet or exceed once the properties are combined and the parcel map is finalized. So at this point, staff is recommending that, consistent with the settlement agreement, the Planning Commission adopt Resolution PC 16-01, a resolution of the Planning Commission of the City of Baldwin Park adopting the findings of fact and approving a conditional use permit to allow residential care facility and a tentative parcel map to consolidate 2 properties into 1 property within the R1 single-family residential zone pursuant to tables 153.050.020 and 152.10 respectively in the city's municipal code. The location is 3562 Vineland Avenue. The applicant is Bruce Ashuri with Eastern Keystone Incorporated, and the case numbers are CP 825 and PM 1430. And this concludes staff's presentation.
Amy, could you describe in a nutshell the main difference between this project and the old project?
Sure. The main difference between this project and the prior project was the entrance to the project itself, the public entrance to the project. The prior version of this project, which was submitted, had the main entrances off of Stitchman Avenue, right here. However, throughout this process, the main entrance to the project has been up of here off of Vineland Avenue. As I stated in the presentation, these drive approaches will only be utilized for either emergency access or waste removal right here.
Thank you, Amy.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Amy. Any commissioners? Questions to the staff? Seeing no interest, we now open up public communications for anyone willing to speak on this matter. Please come up, state your name, address, and you have 3 minutes.
Yeah, my name is Gabriel Alvarado. I live at 3595 Stitchman. My first question is about the settlement agreement dated October 2015. I haven't heard anything about it. It wasn't on your website. Can we take a look at it? What was decided? Was it a secret agreement? Where can we see it? Second thing is we're opposed to this project because we don't have I don't like having my house is 1 lot from this business. Number 2, the people that have ran this hospital haven't been good neighbors in the last. We lived there for 40 years. The property hasn't been kept up. The people that ran this business before didn't take care of that business. There were patients running all over the place before. We don't know if that's going to continue. Yeah, typically these people build up the business and sell it, so they're not responsible to anybody other than themselves, not to the city. The people that are watching the property now, I saw twice they were smoking weed in their cars. That shows me that they don't have control of the people they hire now. What about in the future? What are they going to do? Who are they going to hire? Are they going to be an improvement to the neighborhood? Are they, determined to the neighborhood? Are the property values going to go down? Like I said, they have not been good neighbors in the last 40 years I've been there. I'm very opposed to this project. This traffic is going to be bad. Ambulances are going to be coming in, even though they come in on the violent side. It's still a detriment to the neighborhood. So also parking. If you have a 27-bed facility, the state requires a certain amount of staff to run the place. You have only 4 parking for the staff. You have 27 patients. You have 8 parkings for the visitors. You're going to be parking on the street. So, also, I'd like to know about the settlement agreement. That's my main concern. How can we see it? Or is it's not a public agreement?
We'll answer your questions once the public has a chance to speak.
Very well. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Hi, my name is Sheila Salazar. I live at 3580 Vineland Avenue. I own the property right next door to what was formerly Hampshire House. And I'm usually the one who sees the things that are going on there and reports them. When the girl got out of the shower and walked naked across to the Vineland Elementary, I'm the one who called Hampshire House to report that. Also, when the kids in the back, the dormitories in the back, they started a fire, we're the ones that called the fire department. When one of the ladies got into a fight with one of my sons, he had a broken leg and she attacked him. He was only 9 years old. My daughter, who's here now, she was only like 10. She had to help pull that off. And I was also present when the funding ended, and all the residents, the kids, the young adults that were there, they were mentally challenged. They took them out of there. Sometimes you see them around Baldwin Park. I don't know what happened to those young people. And I bring this up because I've been a witness to the things that have gone on there. And we have a problem with the separation of the properties because it's the old grandfather law where there's only so many feet that have to be between my property. My property is on the right side of Hampshire House, and the fencing there is causing a problem. It used to have a 6-foot wooden fence, and I've been there since 1977, so after 40 years there, that fence deteriorated, fell down, and now they have patches of chain link. It looks nice when you look from the front, but then as you go towards the back, there's just pieces and plywood, and it looks terrible. The whole property is an eyesore. Any improvement that they would make there, I would truly be, I would like to see something happen there. However, my concern is the type of adult residents they're going to have there. I don't know if they're talking about the elderly convalescents, if it's another mentally, the mentally challenged. Supervision there was not great. Like I say, most of the time I was calling for, help or letting them know what was going on. The fence, they put the plywood up, and then they had a pack of dogs over there. I don't know if it was a mother dog who had puppies. They chewed up the fence. They were climbing the fence. They came over trying to attack my dogs, and we had 2 little chickens. They killed those. So the plywood, it's terrible. When they clean the property, like one of the other persons was saying, yeah, we get mice, we get rats, and we get cockroaches that come through because it's like filled. It's so dry and dirty. So those are my concerns, and I want to know what they're going to put there to separate our properties. I want my privacy. I don't want people looking through my fence because, like I say now, it's just chain link and it's just pieces. And I want to make sure that we have, that we have protection on our side and the privacy. So that's all I really have to say. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else wishing to speak?
My name is Victor Pelayo. Address is 3556 Vineland Avenue, and I am opposed to this project. This proposed business is gonna decline the value of our properties in this community. Nothing good is gonna come from it. This community it's a residential area. It's a couple hundred feet from a school. It's only going to attract negative influences to the school children. It's not an ideal location for emergency responders to be traveling on Vineland Avenue. It's a 2-lane road. It's not convenient. It's not adequate. It's not a road that's. It's dangerous, especially. Kids are crossing the street, they're walking. It's not, I don't think it's, this proposed business is not, the location is not ideal. This project has already been denied by the Planning Commission Before, it was denied by the city council as well. They're talking about settlement agreement. This is still ongoing in litigation and still in court. I believe there's still another date set for September. So I don't know what they're talking about. There's a settlement agreement going on. So it'll be nice to hear what's going on or why they're even saying it's a settlement agreement, because this is still an ongoing litigation case. This proposed project this is not the ideal location, especially in a residential area like this. Project like this, you see it in a commercial zone area. Obviously, this is not the place for it. The property owner should consider building residential homes, and that's all I gotta say. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else wishing to speak? Step forward.
Good evening, Honorable Chair, Vice Chairman, board members, and audience. My name is Bruce Ashuri with Eastern Keystone Inc. And the development that we have is a win-win solution for even our neighbors, because once we get this project approved, if get approved with your decision, it will bring stability to the neighborhood. So they set their mind that this is something that's going to be positive, especially for the elderly, and it will not be a noisy facility. It is not going to be disability people inside, which one of the people were worried about. And it will be a positive thing. And I think they're just too worried because they think it's a real active business. But these facilities are basically residential care facilities for mobile people. They're not going to be calling ambulances. And what people are going to be getting there is 3 diet meals and housekeeping and help with their medications if needed, and help with their bathing if needed, and a social program for 27 people. So it's not going to create any traffic or a major business that the neighbors are worried about. In terms of our ownership, we've been owner for 7 years. We are not the previous owner that has been negligent in some areas that I hear. And the other thing was they were telling somebody was smoking weed inside our property. I have 2 maintenance guys there, and their families come over there, and I don't know who has smoked weed. I've never been there, and I don't know if they smoke weed or whatever. But it's very strange to hear that a neighbor has been able to see somebody inside a car smoking weed by just seeing it in a 1 acre property, how he can see it from that far away what he is smoking. Or he could smell it. Anyway, we have had a lot of problems in terms of getting this approval. And this property has had some specific rights. And that's the reason I bought it. And once I found out it is permitted use, that made me the decision to purchase the property. And I'm pretty sure once we get settled on these matters, the public and the neighbors would be more happy than what they are worried about. And I'm here for any questions if you have. And that concludes my presentation.
Thank you very much. I really want to thank you for taking the time to actually speak on behalf of the concerns of our residents. As it is important to them, it's important to us also. So I appreciate that.
Sure.
Any questions?
Any questions?
I have a question. Is there any way to address? I'm sorry, I forgot your name. For the fence.
Oh, the fence is going to have a 6-foot block fence on all sides. So it's absolutely is going to be privacy, established privacy for our neighbor. And if our neighbor contacted me, I would have fixed any problem that even exists right now. We've seen the old fence used to be just something very simple, and as it broke down, we replaced it with chain link fence. But nobody has come and complained anything. So,
Yep, Mr. Shuri, I wanted to follow up on that. You kind of beat me to the punch. That Miss Salazar has some valid concerns because she lives directly next door to the project. So I think it's very important that you speak to her in regards to a wall, her privacy, especially her who she's seen so much. You know, I live around the corner, so I know exactly what she's talking about. So I think it's very important that you reach out to her and you talk to her and you help her with her concerns.
absolutely. I only know Mr. Alfonso a long time ago, and he was a very nice man, and every time I talked to him, he didn't bring any issues to me. And this is the first time I have met the neighbor.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Sure.
Any other questions from the commissioners? Seeing no interest, I now, any other questions from, I'm sorry, anyone else willing to speak from public communications?
Hi, my name is Tina Salazar, and I'm right next door. I just want to state that we don't oppose this, especially for the elderly. There is plenty of parking in the front for, staff to park. So these people that live on Stitchman, I don't think that they're concerned about the back part. But there is plenty of parking, in the front, right in front of the building. And but if it, like I said, if it's for the elderly and it's, I think that's a good idea. Oh my.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else willing to speak?
Good evening, my name is Cristina Rodriguez. I live at 3557 Stitchman Avenue. And we've been protesting about this, we've been writing, we've been waiting, and we don't really want this because we don't want to hear the ambulance. The traffic in Vineland is going to be terrible. You could see when the school is open, it's terrible. And besides, I think there's going to be more pollution. Anyway, I'm opposed about this. And the property is not going to go up, it's going to go down. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Anyone else? Seeing no further interest, we now close public communications. Any questions from the commissioners again to staff?
I was just going to say that the City Council did enter into a settlement agreement with Eastern Keystone, and the settlement agreement stated that the project would be redesigned so that the entrance would be on Vineland and that the number of beds would be reduced from 45 to 27. And that document is a public record, and you can get it by asking the city clerk for a copy. That concludes my remarks. Thank you. Oh, there's still one more court date because the settlement agreement is not final until there's a decision by this planning commission. And once a decision is made by the planning commission, then that court date will be taken off calendar. That will complete the process.
Thank you, Mr. Levis. So back to the commissioners. Any other questions to staff? Seeing no interest, I'll now take a motion.
I move to approve.
Can I get a second?
Second.
Are there any objections? Seeing none, motion passes to approve resolution PC.
What's the number on that, Amy?
16.
01.
01, right. That's 5-0. I mean 4-0, I'm sorry. Thank you. Is Mr. Muse in the audience?
No, he's actually in the back room.
Back room.
Okay, let the minutes show that Chairman Muse is back at the meeting. And we'll move on to the next agenda item. Amy?
Thank you, Honorable Chair, Commissioners, and members of the audience. This request before you is a request for consideration to, 1, modify the Exhibit A of CP 438 to include a 60,000 square foot medical office building and 800 space parking structure. 2, modify the existing sign program 1301 to include signage relating to the aforementioned new medical office building and parking structure. 3, consolidate 4 lots into 1 lot to accommodate the parking structure expansion. And 4, adopt the mitigated negative declaration of environmental impact. So the original Exhibit A that was approved back in, I want to say it was 1986 for this site, included the Kaiser site minus this little portion right here where Broken Horn is. It was this kind of, I don't know, triangular shaped piece of property. And what was built on it and what was originally approved at the time was a hospital building, the parking structure, and a medical office building. The Exhibit A has been modified since to include some fuel cells that will be utilized if and when there's ever any emergency. This will supply fuel to the hospital to keep it running. However, now it's being proposed to be modified again to include the medical office building and parking structure expansion. The proposed medical office building is actually situated right here near the corner of Baldwin Park Boulevard and Best, where current handicap and surface parking is right now. The proposed location of the medical office building, as you can see here, does not disrupt the center, the lagoon area, or any place else. The architecture of the proposed medical office building is very, very similar to the buildings that are on the property right now, including silver tone metals with accents of blue color. Parking structure expansion, as you can see here, will currently be where surface parking is now and will be up to the same height of the existing parking structure. The expanded parking structure is going to maintain pretty much the landscape setback that is here now, which ranges between 11 feet to about 25 feet. There's like 11 feet down here, and then there's 20 feet here. Access to the proposed parking structure expansion, they're going to use existing drive approaches, one that is here, the main entrance that is here, and then this, I believe over here is going to be either relocated, but there's a drive approach on this side anyway. On to the sign program modification. So in December of 2013, and these are the elevations of the parking structure. And they're going to be consistent with the parking structure that's out there now, which includes the metal feature that goes around the middle of it. We've continued that all the way around the best side of the building. This also shows where new signage in the sign program will be. Their master sign program is for all the signage throughout the Kaiser Permanente facility. The proposed modification to the sign program is going to accommodate, sorry about that, wall signage on the new medical office building. It's also going to include signage within the campus facility that will direct people to, the medical offices. And all their signage is color-coded. It's really actually kind of nice. And then also you will have signage over the entrances and exits to the parking structure. And all of this is to assist clients, visitors, and staff to the correct facility, because if any of you have ever been down there, you know how huge it is. So, and all the signage is consistent with the existing signage. There's nothing is out of the ordinary with this. So moving on to the parcel map, as you can see, this is the big Kaiser facility outlined in green here. Kaiser over the years has purchased these properties over here, which is now, like I said, currently surface parking. In order to accommodate the expansion of the parking structure, which, if left in this current state, would cross over property lines, which is a no-no by the Uniform Building Code, we're requiring that the applicant file the parcel map to consolidate all of these properties, so this will be all one property. So they're consolidating all four into the one. From our perspective, the consolidation meets or exceeds the development standards contained within the code. We sent out the parcel map to the various utility companies for comment. We received comments back from LA County Department of Public Works, LA County Fire, the Public Works Department, so on and so forth. We also got comments back, surprisingly, on this from California Edison, SoCal Edison. Never gotten anything from them. However, one of, just so you know, there was a table that was left by your chair tonight on the dais. Those are some updated Public Works comments. There's nothing out of the ordinary that the applicant is unaware of. It was primarily to correct some typos and to provide some clarification. Nothing substantial. So at this time, staff is recommending that following the public hearing, the Planning Commission adopt Resolution PC 1611, entitled A Resolution of the Planning Commission of the City of Baldwin Park, 1, approving the mitigated negative declaration of environmental impact, 2, adopting the findings of fact and approving a modification to an existing conditional use permit, Exhibit A, to include a new 60,000 square foot medical office building and 800 space parking structure expansion pursuant to section 153.210.130.c in the city's municipal code. 3, adopting the findings of fact and approving a modification to an existing sign program to accommodate the signs relating to the new medical office building and parking structure expansion pursuant to section 153.170.107.c of the city's municipal code. And 4, adopting the findings of fact and approving a tentative parcel map to consolidate 4 lots into 1 lot, facilitate the construction of a parking structure expansion pursuant to table 152.10, all located within the freeway commercial zone. The location is 1011 Baldwin Park Boulevard, and APN accessories parcel numbers 8559-006-005 and 8559-005, parcel 008, parcel 009, and parcel 010. The applicant is Skylar Deniston, representing Kaiser Permanente, and the case numbers are CP 438 mod number 3, sign program 1301 mod number 1, and PM 1430. And this concludes staff's presentation.
Thank you. At this point, are there any questions from the commissioners to staff? Seeing none at this point, I will now open public communication. Anyone wishing to speak on this agenda item, please step forward. Seeing no interest, I now close public communication. And again, any commissioners wishing to speak on this item? All right, seeing none, at this point, I will accept a motion.
I'll motion to move it forward.
Second.
Any objections? Seeing none, motion passes 5-0 for PC. The PC1?
16-11.
16-11.
Yeah, we did it.
So I guess the next item is the reports of officers.
Thank you, Chair. As I include every planning commission, we have your updated planning division monthly report for June. So if you have any questions about that, we've been actually obviously very busy, as you can see by your agenda tonight. If you have any questions, I'd be more than happy to answer them.
No. Next item.
The next item under Commission Staff Communications is a verbal update on the proposed Irwindale Materials Recovery Facility and Transfer Station. The city did file a timely lawsuit with LA County Superior Court against the city of Irwindale, their successor agency, etc., regarding the approval of the environmental impact report and such for the materials recovery facility that is proposed on Arrow Highway. I don't have an update other than that we have filed the lawsuit. So once I hear what's moving forward, I will be keeping you informed as we move along. There is one other thing that I did want to let you know that was not on the agenda, but the Planning Division actually won two awards. One, the Los Angeles chapter of the American Planning Association, we won an award for our health and sustainability element. For 2016, it was the Comprehensive Plan for a Small Jurisdiction. So we won that award. And then, was it last week? Last week we were notified we also won the state award for the same thing. Wow. So we're very excited. I'm getting more excited about it. I still can't really believe it. So right now we're in the process of conferring with our consultant about applying for the national award. So we'll see.
Very good.
So, yeah. And, oh, yes, I have some sad news to report. She's smiling over there. Our planning technician, Mada E. Castillo, has gotten a full-time job with the city of Glendora. This is her last planning commission meeting. She's actually not taking any time off and going to be starting there on Monday.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
Question, Amy?
Yes.
Did we make an appropriate counteroffer? No.
I wish I could. That's all I will say.
Probably say that on the microphone. It's been a pleasure to work with everyone here.
Thank you.
Congratulations on everything.
Congrats. Time to go out.
What was that?
It's time to go out and celebrate.
Yeah, except I have to.
Yeah, we show no mercy, even if it's your last day.
Anything else?
No, that's all I have.
Good. At this point, I will now accept a motion for adjournment.
A motion.
Second.
Any objections? Seeing none, meeting's adjourned.
You're supposed to.
Good job. Oh, thank you, man.